Christmas, Christmas. Oh, Christians. Why do you insist on giving away your inheritance for a meal? It's all been done before, and it's just there for you to read. The Father, Jehovah, he warned you about this. He warned you not to do this. In 1 Kings 11, King Solomon allows his many wives and concubines to worship their gods the way the heathen did. So the kingdom gets taken from him by Jehovah. He gets left with the tribe of Benjamin. So Judah and Benjamin, the southern kingdom, the house of Judah, and the northern 10 tribes. And then if you fast forward to 2 Kings 17, the northern 10 tribes get divorced from God for the very thing that the whole world is doing right now. No wonder the wrath of God is coming. They were scattered into the Gentiles and they've never returned. That's why the Messiah came, for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And we're just making the same mistakes. There's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new. We just called it a different name. In Jeremiah 10, it pretty much sums it up. You could get a halfwit to read the first 5 verses of Jeremiah 10 and know exactly it's talking about the Christmas tree. Although back then they had a different name for it, an Ashtaroth pole. And they used to go like a stage further, and maybe sometimes they would carve things into the actual tree. But Jeremiah 10 tells you, do not go the way of the heathen. And don't be dismayed at the signs of heaven, the winter solstice, when we practice that thing called Christmas. And he tells you explicitly, don't go into the woods and chop down a tree and bring it into your house and decorate it with silver and gold and fix it with hammers and nails so that it stands upright. I mean, you couldn't get any plainer than that. You really couldn't. It is true. There's nothing new under the sun. All we've done is relabeled it. Take a look into Saturnalia. Have a look at what Saturnalia actually was. Because although we're not physically sacrificing children right now, although abortions are through the roof, you know, it's just disgusting. Let's have a look at some other scriptures. Deuteronomy 4:27. And Jehovah shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither Jehovah shall lead you. So that's a witness to what happened to the northern 10 tribes that were scattered into Assyria. And in Matthew 15:24, the Messiah, Yeshua, actually backs that up. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So at that time, it was just the house of Judah and Benjamin mixed in with them. And the northern 10 tribes were still gone. And that was who the Messiah came for. I'm going to go through Jeremiah 10 now. I did quote a little bit of it earlier, but I was just paraphrasing. Jeremiah 10:1-5. Hear ye the word which Jehovah speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. House of Israel is the northern 10 tribes. Thus saith Jehovah, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So there's your winter solstice, spring equinox. You know, like the heathen used to get all uppity about them, and they would sacrifice children to basically Baal, is what we're talking about. Jeremiah 10:3, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. They deck it with silver and gold, they fasten it with nails and hammers, that it move not. They are upright as a palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. So that's pretty plain. You know, if we're talking about the winter solstice in December, what tree would you be cutting out of the forest? That would be an evergreen, and bringing it into your house and decorating it with silver and gold and putting it in a stand, or, you know, fixing it to the floor with nails and hammers that it doesn't move. It's exactly talking about a Christmas tree. Exactly. And in Deuteronomy 16:21, you get another warning. Thou shalt not plant thee a grove of any trees near unto the altar of Jehovah thy God, which thou shalt make thee. And that word, thou shalt not plant, the word plant is H5193 in the Strongs. It's pronounced nota, a primitive root, properly to strike in, that is fix, specifically to plant, literally or figuratively, fastened or plant. So it's talking about both, setting one up on a stand or planting one. And a grove is one word in the Strongs, and it's H842. And guess what that one is? Asherah. And that's how you pronounce it. From H833, Happy Asherah, or Astarte, a Phoenician goddess, also an image of the same, a grove. So a grove, planting a grove is setting up a tree, and it's called an Asherah. So there's the connection back to Asherah. That's what God is actually calling your Christmas tree. In Deuteronomy 32:17, they sacrificed unto devils, not to God, to little g gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. So we've just plastered a different name on the same practice that we were warned not to do. And you'll see it in all the Christian churches. They'll be setting up their Christmas trees and doing exactly what Jehovah warned us not to do. In Ezekiel 22:26, her priests have violated my law and have profaned mine holy things. They have put no difference between the holy and profane, neither have they showed difference between the unclean and the clean, and have hid their eyes from my Sabbaths, and I am profaned among them. In Job 14:4, Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. So he's warning you, don't go the way of the heathen. Especially don't do what the heathens do to worship their gods and plaster God's name on it. In Jeremiah 7, 9 and 10, it says, will ye steal, murder, and commit adultery, and swear falsely, 4 of the 10 commandments, and burn incense unto Baal, and walk after other gods whom ye know not, and come and stand before me in this house, which is called by my name, and say, we are delivered to do these abominations. Let's see how that panned out before, because the first time this happened, Yah was going to destroy the whole of Israel, and Moses had to plead with Yah. So he added sacrificial law onto them, because they broke the 10 commandments within a very short period of time. And in Exodus 32:5, and when Aaron saw it, the golden calf, he built an altar before it, and Aaron made proclamation and said, tomorrow is a feast to Jehovah. So now all our churches are actually doing exactly the same thing. We are taking a pagan practice, which is rooted in child sacrifice. And we're maybe not sacrificing children physically, but you are spiritually. You're spiritually empowering the demonic by engaging in these practices. And even worse, you're plastering his name onto it. But you're also profaning it because you've got the wrong name. The son's name is Yeshua. Joshua in the English, if you want to call him Joshua. Not a Greek name, Iesus. The letter J wasn't even invented until fairly recently. Can't remember when. But Iesus, I come in my Father's name and you receive me not. If one comes in his own name, him you will receive. And you have. Deuteronomy 12:30, take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them. After that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Thou shalt not do so unto Jehovah thy God, for every abomination to Jehovah which he hates have they done unto their gods. For even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods. So you're spiritually sacrificing your children now. Ezekiel 44:23. And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and the profane, and cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean. That was specifically speaking about the Levitical priesthood, which we no longer have because sacrificial law was ended. The Levitical priesthood was only for sacrificial law. And it was only for that time. And the church is in such a state now that God has to raise up watchmen, Ezekiel 2:3 and 33, to warn people to not engage in these practices. And in John 4:23, the Messiah said, but the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshippers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. So spiritually sacrificing your children to Baal is effectively what you're actually doing when you do Christmas, Easter, Halloween. No wonder the kids are in such a state these days. They don't even know that they're actually human, male, female, a cat, a dog. It's disgusting. And a final warning in Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. That thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children. We need to repent. We all did it. We've all done it. Some of us have been woken up to warn the rest of you not to engage in these pagan practices. You need to keep the 10 Commandments, the everlasting covenant. 10 simple things not. The majority of them are things not to do. You need to keep the Sabbath holy. That's the 7th day of the week. You need to eat clean. Only eat what God called clean, mainly as a warning for your own health. Pork and shellfish and all these things are all bottom feeders. They're all cleaners. They're, And then you need to not forsake the gathering. We have a Sabbath gathering every Sabbath. You just go to the website, straightasthegate.net. Come and join us. We've got Bible studies all day, pretty much off and on. You can check out all that stuff at the website. Yeah.
Ho, 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 ho.